The survey vessel Gentle Dawn moved slowly through the darkness of space. It was a beautiful ship, white and curved like a flower petal. Inside, the crew worked quietly at their stations. They had done this many times before, finding new planets, studying new life, writing reports. It was boring work but important. Stood at the main research console. She was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. Her species, they came from a peaceful world of endless gardens and soft rain. They had no natural predators. They had never needed to run or fight or hide. This made them perfect scientists. They were calm, patient, careful. "We are approaching the planet now," said Captain from her command chair. She was older than, with patches on her blue skin. Standard survey protocol, nothing special. Nodded and began her work. The planet below was called Earth by its inhabitants. Humans lived there. They had been watching them for a few decades, waiting until they were ready for contact. Now that time had come. "The database says this is a Class 4 death world," said from beside her. He was young and nervous, always worried about something. His eyes were even larger than most, which made him look permanently frightened. "That must be an error," said. She did not even look up from her screen. Class 4 worlds are extremely rare. The conditions required are almost impossible. "But the file says." "Files can be wrong," smiled at him gently. "I have surveyed 37 worlds. I have never seen a true Class 4. They exist mostly in old stories to scare children." Did not look convinced, but he stayed quiet. Began the biological survey. This was her favorite part. Every world had its own beautiful web of life. Plants and animals and tiny creatures all connected together. Usually, she found one or two apex predators at the top of the food chain, large animals that hunted other animals. They were always rare, always carefully balanced with their environment. She started with the mammals. A list appeared on her screen. Wolves, lions, tigers, leopards, jaguars, cheetahs, bears, hyenas, wolverines. Blinked, that was unusual. She had never seen so many large predators in one category. She kept scrolling. Polar bears, grizzly bears, black bears, sun bears. "How many types of bears does one planet need?" she whispered to herself. She moved to the cat family. The list grew longer. Cougars, lynxes, bobcats, caracals, servals, ocelots, fishing cats, clouded leopards. Felt something cold move through her body. This was not normal. This was not possible. She said quietly, "Come look at this." He walked over and looked at her screen. His large eyes grew even larger. "What am I seeing?" "Apex predators, just the cats." "There are so many." "Yes, switch to reptiles, crocodiles, alligators, Komodo dragons, anacondas, king cobras, black mambas." She switched to birds, eagles, hawks, owls, secretary birds, cassowaries. She switched to ocean life. Great white sharks, tiger sharks, bull sharks, orcas, crocodiles, box jellyfish, blue-ringed octopus. The list kept growing. It would not stop. Every category had dozens of entries. Every continent had its own collection of killing machines. Made a small sound. It was not quite a word. More like the noise a small animal makes when it sees a shadow pass overhead. "How is this possible?" asked. Her voice was shaking now. "No ecosystem can support this many apex predators. They would consume all the prey, they would starve, they would die." "Maybe they eat each other," suggested weakly. Checked, some of them did. Tigers killed leopards, lions killed hyenas, orcas killed sharks, but that only made things worse. That meant the predators were so numerous that they had become prey for each other. Captain noticed the silence at the research station. She walked over and looked at the screens. Her face did not change, but saw her hands grip the edge of the console. "This is confirmed data?" the captain asked. "Yes, multiple sources, all." "How many apex predators total?" Ran the calculation. The number appeared on screen. She stared at it for a long moment. Thousands, she said, across all environments, land, sea, air, thousands of species that can and will kill. Captain was quiet for a very long time. Then she spoke in a voice that had never heard before. It was the voice of someone who had just learned that the universe was much more dangerous than she had believed. Contact the Galactic Biological Council. Request emergency consultation. Priority Level 1. What should I tell them? Asked. Tell them we found a real Class 4 death world. Tell them the database was not wrong. Tell them, paused and looked at the blue and green planet floating below them. It looked so peaceful from here, so beautiful, like her own almost. Tell them we need to understand how anything survives down there. And more importantly, she pointed at the population counter on another screen. 8 billion humans, 8 billion soft, clawless, fangless creatures living among thousands of predators. We need to understand how they became the dominant species. Sent the message. Then she sat back in her chair and stared at the planet called Earth. Somewhere down there a wolf was hunting, a shark was swimming, a snake was wading in the grass, and humans were walking among all of them, completely unafraid. She had studied alien life for 40 years. She thought she understood how the universe worked. She was beginning to realize she understood nothing at all. The Galactic Biological Council met in a great chamber made of light. Representatives from 40 species attended, some in person, some as holograms flickering in the air. They were scientists and leaders, the minds in the known galaxy. They studied life in all its forms. They had seen wonders and horrors across 1,000 worlds. None of them were prepared for this report. She stood at the center of the chamber, her blue skin looking almost under the harsh lights. The screens behind her showed images of Earth, forests and oceans, mountains and deserts, and everywhere predators. This cannot be accurate, said Counselor. He was old, even by standards. His skin had faded to almost white, and his eyes had seen more than most beings could imagine. He led the Committee on Dangerous Fauna. He had personally classified over 200 deadly species. Earth had more than that in cats alone. I have the data 17 times, said. The numbers are correct. But the ecological balance. There is no balance, not as we understand it. Changed the image. A food web appeared showing how species connected to each other. On most worlds it looked like a simple tree. On Earth it looked like a tangled knot of string. Everything eats everything, she explained. And everything is eaten. The prey animals breed quickly to replace their losses. The predators compete with each other constantly. It is chaos. Beautiful, terrible chaos. Leaned forward in his chair. You said humans are the dominant species. How is that possible? They have no natural weapons, no claws, no venom, their teeth are flat, their skin is soft. That is why we invited them to explain. A door opened at the side of the chamber. 2 humans walked in. The first was a woman named Park. She was small by human standards, with black hair and warm brown eyes. She wore a simple uniform and carried a tablet computer. She smiled at the assembled aliens as if she was meeting friends at a party. The second was a man named. He was taller and broader with a soldier's posture. He did not smile, but his face was calm and relaxed. He stood slightly behind, watching everything with quiet attention. Thank you for having us, said. Her voice was pleasant and clear. I understand you have some questions about our planet. Spoke first. Dr. Park, we have counted over 3,000 apex predator species on your world. How do you explain this? Tilted her head slightly. Explain it. I'm not sure what you mean. That's just how Earth is. But no other world has such numbers. Most have 1 or 2 apex predators. 3 is considered unusual. You have thousands. Yes, we're quite proud of our biodiversity. Several council members made sounds of confusion. Proud. She was proud of living on a death world. Perhaps I can help clarify, continued. On Earth we have many different environments, Jungles, deserts, frozen lands, deep oceans, high mountains. Each environment created its own predators. Over millions of years, they evolved and adapted. Some died out. Many survived. The result is what you see today. And humans, asked, how did you survive among all these killers? Smiled again. It was a strange smile, not threatening exactly. But there was something behind it that made feel uneasy. We adapted too, said simply. But you have no natural weapons. We made weapons. You have no armor. We made armor. You cannot run fast or swim fast or fly at all. We built vehicles that do all those things better than any animal. Was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, and the predators, the wolves, the bears, the great cats, you drove them away. Some of them, yes, but others paused and her smile grew warmer. Others we made into friends. The chamber fell completely silent. Friends, he whispered. We call it domestication. We took wolves and bred them over thousands of years. We made them loyal to us. We made them love us. Now they live in our homes. They sleep in our beds. They protect our children. You sleep with wolves. We call them dogs now. They come in many sizes and shapes. Some are very small and fluffy. Watched face carefully. The old counselor looked like he was trying to solve an impossible puzzle. His mouth opened and closed several times without making sound. Finally spoke. His voice was deep and calm. We also tamed horses for riding, cattle for food, falcons for hunting, elephants for work, bees for honey, he paused. We even keep some of the deadly ones as pets, snakes, spiders. Some people keep big cats. Why would anyone do that? Someone asked from the council. Shrugged, they like them. Raised a shaking hand. Dr. Park, Sergeant, I must ask, what do humans eat? And looked at each other. Something passed between them. Some shared knowledge that no alien in the room could understand. Everything, said. Blinked everything. Plants, animals, fish, birds, insects, fungi. We eat almost anything that doesn't kill us. And sometimes we eat things that can kill us too if we prepare them correctly. There is a fish, added, that is extremely poisonous. One mistake in cutting it and you die. It is considered a delicacy. People pay a lot of money to eat it. Stood up slowly from his chair. His whole body was trembling. He looked then at the humans, then at the images of Earth still glowing on the screens. I need to sit down, he said. You are sitting down, reminded him gently. Looked at his chair. Then he looked at the humans again. Then his eyes rolled back and he fell forward onto the council table. Medical staff rushed to help him. Watched with concern. Is he okay? Did I say something wrong? Shook her head slowly. No, Dr. Park, I think you said everything exactly right. That is the problem. The council took a 2-hour break. Several other members also needed medical attention. When they returned, they had more questions. Suspected the answers would only make things worse. The shuttle landed in a green valley surrounded by mountains. Stepped out first, her scientific equipment hanging from her belt. Followed close behind, his large eyes scanning everything for danger. The air smelled strange, clean and wet and full of life. Welcome to, said a cheerful voice. Turned to see a young woman walking toward them. She wore a ranger uniform and had a bright, friendly smile. Her name was, and she would be their guide for the day. Behind her came a man carrying a large camera. He was tall and enthusiastic, bouncing slightly with each step. His name was Shin, and he worked as a wildlife photographer. This is one of our most beautiful national parks, explained. Very peaceful, very safe. Looked around at the thick forest. Shadows moved between the trees. Birds called out warnings to each other. Somewhere in the distance, something large was moving through the bushes. Safe, she repeated quietly. They began walking along a mountain trail. Talked as they walked, pointing out different plants and explaining the ecosystem. She seemed completely relaxed, as if walking through a forest full of unknown dangers was the most normal thing in the world. Because for her it was. "What kind of predators live here?" asked, keeping her voice steady. "Oh, quite a few," said casually. "We have Asiatic black bears. They're usually shy, but mothers with cubs can be aggressive. Wild boar are actually more dangerous. They have sharp tusks and very bad tempers." Boar's voice was high and thin. "Big pigs," explained helpfully. "Very big, very angry." "We also have venomous snakes," continued. "Vipers mostly, and some venomous spiders. Oh, and the hornets can be deadly if you disturb their nests." Moved closer too. His hands were shaking. "But don't worry," added. "Most animals will leave you alone if you don't bother them." Most asked. Smiled, "Well, nothing is perfect." They walked deeper into the forest, stopped sometimes to take photographs of birds and insects. He moved through the undergrowth with easy confidence, not afraid of what might be hiding there. "I once photographed a mother bear with her cubs," he said proudly. "Got within 20 meters. Stared at him. How did you survive?" "She wasn't hungry," shrugged like this was obvious. "Also, I brought some dried fish to throw if she charged. Bears love dried fish." "You brought food for the bear?" "Of course. Always bring bear snacks when photographing bears." Made a note in her tablet. Humans bribe predators with food. She was not sure if this showed great intelligence or great insanity. They reached a stream where the water ran cold and clear over smooth stones, pointed to tracks in the mud. "Deer," she said. "They come to drink here in the morning." "Deer are harmless, yes?" asked hopefully. "Mostly. The males have antlers and they can be aggressive during mating season. People have been injured." Made a small whimpering sound. Even the prey animals were dangerous here. Something rustled in the bushes nearby. Everyone stopped. His heart beat faster. She prepared to run, though she knew she could never outrun whatever was hiding there. A small furry face peeked out from the leaves. It looked almost cute, with a striped face and round ears. "Oh, a raccoon dog," said warmly. "Hello, little one." "It looks friendly," said, relaxing slightly. "They can bite through bone," mentioned casually. "And they sometimes carry rabies, but yes, very cute." The raccoon dog watched them for a moment, then disappeared back into the forest. They continued walking, explained more about the ecosystem, the mountains, the seasons, the endless cycle of growth and death and rebirth. She spoke about it with love, like she was describing a family member. "Your world is very dangerous," said finally. "How do humans survive here?" "Thought about this. We learn, we adapt. We're careful but not too careful. Fear keeps you alive, but too much fear keeps you from living." That sounds like something from a philosophy book. My grandmother used to say it. She lived in these mountains her whole life, 93 years. She saw bears and boar and snakes. She respected them and they respected her. They respected her. Animals are smart. They know who is a threat and who isn't. They know who belongs. Paused and looked at with gentle eyes. "The forest is dangerous, yes, but it's also home. You just have to learn its rules." Considered this. On her world there were no rules to learn, no predators to respect, no danger to navigate. Was that better? She had always thought so. But watching move through this deadly forest with such confidence and joy, she was not so sure anymore. "This park is considered gentle," said. "You should see the jungles in other countries, or the Australian outback." "What is in Australia?" asked. And exchanged a look. "Everything there wants to kill you," said. "Snakes, spiders, jellyfish, crocodiles, even some of the plants are dangerous. And people live there. Millions of them. They have barbecues on the beach." Looked like he might faint, caught his arm to steady him. "Why?" asked. "Why do humans choose to live in such places?" Smiled. It was the same strange smile that Dr. Park had worn at the council meeting. That smile that held something could not quite understand. "Because it's beautiful," said simply. "And because we're stubborn, we don't let anything push us out. Not mountains, not deserts, not predators. Earth is our home, all of it, and we refuse to leave any part of it." A bird screamed somewhere in the canopy above. The sound echoed through the forest like a warning, didn't even flinch. "Come on," she said. "There's a beautiful waterfall ahead. The bears sometimes fish there. If we're lucky, we might see one." She walked on, completely unafraid. Followed, her mind full of new questions that she was not sure she wanted answered. The museum was quiet and cool. Walked slowly through the halls, her eyes moving from one display to another. Each one showed a different piece of Earth's history, and each one made her more afraid. "This is a saber-toothed cat," said, pointing to a massive skull behind glass. She was the museum curator, a woman with hair and passionate eyes. She loved her work. That much was obvious. The teeth whispered, "They're longer than my hand." Yes, they used these to kill large prey, very efficient hunters. Move to the next display. And this is a dire wolf, much larger than modern wolves. They hunted in packs. Nothing was safe from them. "They are extinct now?" asked. "Yes, about 10,000 years ago." "What killed them?" Smiled, "Climate change helped, but also competition from humans." Stopped walking. "Humans killed the saber-toothed cats, the dire wolves. We didn't kill all of them directly, but we hunted the same prey. We competed for the same spaces. We were better at surviving." Shrugged. "Eventually, they were gone and we were still here." They moved through more displays. Giant ground sloths that stood taller than the ceiling. Massive crocodiles that could swallow a human whole. Terror birds with beaks like axes. Short-faced bears that made modern bears look like toys. All of them gone. All of them defeated by time and change and the endless pressure of human existence. "Your ancestors lived alongside these creatures?" asked. "For thousands of years. They painted pictures of them on cave walls. They told stories about them around fires. They feared them and respected them and sometimes hunted them." How humans have no claws, no armor, no venom. Led them to a new display. It showed simple stone tools, spears with sharpened tips, arrows with carefully carved points, clubs and axes and knives. "We made our own claws," said. "We made our own teeth." She pressed a button, and a video began playing on a nearby screen. It showed modern humans hunting with bows and arrows, running across open grassland after wounded prey, working together in groups, communicating with shouts and signals. "We are not the fastest or the strongest," continued, "but we are the best at working together, and we never give up. We can track an animal for days. We can run longer than almost any creature on Earth. Our prey dies from exhaustion while we are still fresh enough to finish the job." Watch the video. The humans moved with terrible patience. They did not rush. They did not tire. They just kept coming hour after hour until their target could not run anymore. "Persistence hunting," said. "It's how our ancestors fed their families. No other predator does this. They attack, and if they fail, they give up. We attack, and if we fail, we try again, and again, and again, until we win." Sat down on a bench. His legs were shaking. "This is worse than the living predators," he said quietly. "This is much worse." After the museum, Dr. Park took them to a restaurant. It was owned by a man named Lee, who greeted them with a big smile and a loud voice. "Welcome, welcome, you must try our galbi, best beef in the city." The restaurant was warm and full of delicious smells. Grills sat at each table, covered with cooking meat. Humans sat around them, laughing and talking and eating. So much meat, thought, so much death on every table. Brought them plates of raw beef and showed them how to cook it on the grill. The meat sizzled and turned brown. The smell made stomach turn in ways she didn't fully understand. "Where does this meat come from?" she asked. "Cattle," said proudly. We raise them on farms, very good quality. How big are cattle? The ones we use, maybe 500 kilograms. Some breeds are bigger. Calculated quickly. That was nearly 10 times the weight of a human. Humans raised and killed animals 10 times their own size, for food, regularly. How many cattle are killed each year for food? She asked. Thought about it. Worldwide, maybe 300 million, plus pigs, chickens, fish, sheep. He counted on his fingers. Billions of animals total, every year. Put his head down on the table. He was making small sounds that might have been crying. Dr. Park sat across from, eating her meal with clear enjoyment. She noticed watching her. I know this must seem strange to you, said gently. Your species evolved as herbivores. You eat plants. The idea of killing and eating animals is probably disturbing. It is not just disturbing, said. It is. I do not have the right word. You are surrounded by predators. You survived prehistoric monsters, and now you farm and kill billions of creatures every year. You are not just surviving among predators. You are. She stopped. The word finally came to her. You are the apex predator, the final one, the top of everything. Set down her chopsticks. Her warm brown eyes met dark ones. For a long moment, neither spoke. We don't think of ourselves that way, said finally. We're just people. We have families and jobs and dreams. We fall in love. We raise children. We worry about small things and big things. We're not monsters. I did not say you were monsters. No, but you're wondering if we might be. Did not answer. She could not deny it. Reached across the table and touched his hand gently. The contact was warm and soft, not threatening at all. We could have become monsters, said. Our history has dark chapters. We have done terrible things to each other and to our world, but we're trying to be better. We protect endangered species now. We create parks and reserves. We study the animals we once only hunted. She smiled. We're learning that being at the top means taking responsibility for everything below. Looked its hand on hers, such a small hand. No claws, no weapons, just 5 soft fingers. And yet this species had conquered a world of nightmares. In the galactic hierarchy of predators, said slowly, where do humans rank? Thought about the question carefully. When she answered, her voice was quiet but steady. We're not at the top because we're the strongest or the fastest or the deadliest. We're at the top because we decided to be. And once we decide something, nothing in the universe can change our minds. Appeared with more meat for the grill. He was humming a happy song. Watched the beef sizzle and cook. Billions of animals every year. Thousands of predator species living alongside them. Prehistoric monsters driven to extinction. And through it all, humans kept going, kept adapting, kept winning. She had come to Earth to study a death world. She was beginning to realize she had found something far more terrifying. She had found the species that made death worlds their home. The Galactic Assembly Chamber was completely full. Representatives from every known species had come to hear his final report. Some had traveled for weeks. Others watched through communication links that stretched across thousands of light years. Everyone wanted to know about Earth. Everyone wanted to understand the humans. Stood at the central podium. She felt small under the weight of so many eyes, but she had a job to do. The truth needed to be told. Honored representatives, she began. I was sent to Earth to conduct a standard biological survey. What I found was anything but standard. She activated the display behind her. Images of Earth appeared. Beautiful images, terrible images. Earth is not a death world because it has many predators. Other worlds have predators. Earth is a death world because it produces predators. It creates them. It shapes them through millions of years of competition and violence. Only the strongest survive. Only the most adaptable thrive. She changed the image. Now it showed humans, running, swimming, climbing, building, fighting, loving, living. Humans are the ultimate product of this process. They have no natural weapons, so they created weapons. They have no armor, so they built shelters. They cannot fly, so they invented machines that carry them through the sky and beyond into space itself. The assembly was silent, thousands of beings watching, thousands of minds trying to understand. But their greatest weapon is not technology, continued. It is their refusal to quit. Humans are persistence hunters. They do not need to be faster than their prey. They simply need to keep moving, keep following, keep trying. Eventually, everything else gets tired, everything else gives up. Humans never do. She showed footage from the museum. Ancient humans hunting mammoths with spears, working together, communicating, planning. They hunted creatures 10 times their size. They survived ice ages and volcanic eruptions and plagues. They spread across their entire planet into every environment, no matter how hostile. Deserts that would kill most species in hours. Frozen wastelands where the temperature drops below anything we would consider survivable. Jungles so thick and dangerous that the plants themselves are deadly. More images. Humans in the Arctic. Humans in the Sahara. Humans underwater. Humans on top of mountains so high there was barely any air to breathe. Wherever we looked, we found them. Wherever the conditions were worst, humans were there, living and working and raising families. Not surviving, thriving. Paused. This was the hardest part, the part that had kept her awake for many nights. We asked ourselves, are humans dangerous? Should we fear them? The answer is complicated. She changed the image one more time. It showed a human child playing with a dog in a sunny field, laughing, happy, innocent. Humans can be violent. Their history is full of war and cruelty. They have harmed each other and their world in terrible ways, but they are also capable of great kindness, great love, great sacrifice. They protect the weak. They care for the sick. They build beautiful things and create wonderful art and dream of reaching the stars. The chamber remained silent, but sensed a change in the atmosphere. Fear was mixing with something else. Curiosity, perhaps, or hope. Earth is a death world, said firmly. But humans have transformed it into something else. A world where predators are studied and protected. A world where ancient enemies become beloved companions. A world where the most dangerous creature of all has chosen to become a guardian instead of a destroyer. She stepped back from the podium. That concludes my scientific report, but we have guests who wish to address this assembly. 2 figures walked onto the stage. The first was a woman named. She was Earth's first official ambassador to the galactic community. She was small and elegant, dressed in traditional clothing from her country. Her face was calm and confident. Behind her came a man named. He was a military general, but he wore no weapons. His hands were clasped behind his back. His expression was gentle, almost kind. Approached the podium. She looked out at the thousands of alien faces watching her. She did not seem afraid at all. "Thank you, Doctor, for your thorough report," she said. Her voice was warm but carried easily through the vast chamber. "I hope it helps you understand us a little better. I know we must seem frightening. A species that conquered a world of nightmares. A species that domesticated wolves and hunted mammoths and spread across an entire planet through sheer stubbornness." She smiled. It was a genuine smile, the kind that made you want to smile back. "But we did not come here to frighten you. We came to ask if you would be our friends." A murmur ran through the assembly. Friends, with apex predators. "We have learned hard lessons on our world," continued. "We have learned that strength without wisdom leads to destruction. Power without compassion leads to emptiness. We nearly destroyed our own planet before we understood these truths. We do not want to make the same mistakes among the stars." General stepped forward slightly. His presence was calm and steady. He did not need to threaten. His existence was threat enough. Every being in the chamber knew what humans were capable of. "We can offer you many things," said. "Our technology, our art, our medicine, our music. But most importantly, we offer our friendship, Our loyalty, our protection." She paused. "We have spent millions of years learning to survive among predators. We would like to use that knowledge to help others instead of harm them." The assembly was silent for a long moment. Then Counselor stood slowly. He had recovered from his earlier shock. His voice was steady now, though his hand still trembled slightly. "The Council will need to discuss this proposal," he said, "but speaking personally, I believe we would be foolish to refuse such friends." A vote was called. One by one, species after species cast their decision. The outcome was unanimous. Humanity was welcomed into the galactic community. Watched from the side of the stage as shook hands with representatives from a dozen worlds. General stood nearby, smiling softly. He caught eye and nodded respectfully. Months later returned to her. Her children rushed to greet her at the spaceport. They were curious and excited. "What was Earth like?" her daughter asked. "Were there really monsters everywhere?" Thought about the question. She remembered tigers and sharks and bears. She remembered volcanoes and earthquakes and hurricanes. She remembered wolves that became dogs and caves painted with ancient art and humans who ran until their prey collapsed from exhaustion. She remembered Sergeant offering her snacks during a thunderstorm, explaining that storms made everything better with good food and company. She remembered walking fearlessly through a forest of predators, pointing out beauty where others saw only danger. She remembered his hand on hers, warm and soft and full of kindness. "Yes," said finally, "there were monsters everywhere. The planet is covered with them, every continent, every ocean, every environment." Her children's eyes grew wide. "But the humans are the most wonderful monsters of all," she continued, pulling them into a hug. "They are terrifying and beautiful and kind, and they invited us to be their friends." Her daughter thought about this. "Can we visit Earth someday?" Smiled. She was already planning the trip. "Yes," she said, "I think we should. I want to show you the forests full of bears, the oceans full of sharks, the mountains full of danger and beauty." She looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth was spinning, blue and green and full of life. "I want to show you what happens when a species refuses to give up," she said softly. "I want to show you what humans call home.